Russian families living in a safe proximity to Japan are offering temporary foster care to children caught up in the ongoing quake disaster. In Russian regions close to the danger zones, emergency services remain on high alert, although the threat of a radioactive cloud reaching the area is said to be minimal. That's not stopping some tourists and foreign workers from fleeing. RT's Yekaterina Grachova is there for us.
After the first reports about yet another explosion at the Fukushima nuclear power plant were released, emergency officials for the Sakhalin region have intensified checks for radiation levels here in the Sakhalin region, Russia's closest part to Japan. We talked to representatives of the ministry some time ago. They showed us a car which they equipped with professional Geiger meters which would measure radiation levels at different places around the city. The car will be raiding the city of Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk. So the emergencies ministry here assures that as of Tuesday morning there is no increase in radiation levels and there is no cause for the residents to panic.
In the worst-case scenario, locals can make respiratory masks at home. There's no threat to the health of the Sakhalin people. Radiation readings are at a normal level.
Meanwhile, we know that Russia's defense ministry says it is ready to evacuate its personnel from the Kuril Islands, which is the closest part of the region to Japan. And the residents, for example, are searching for their personal Geiger counters to measure radiation levels. We also know from pharmacists that sales of iodine have rocketed. And people obviously want to make sure that they are well prepared for a possible threat of radioactive emission in case if there is a nuclear catastrophe in Japan. From what we know from people we've spoken to is that they believe the emergencies ministry of Russia in their reports about normal radiation levels. It's just that they are not quite sure whether Japanese are playing down the threat of a nuclear catastrophe or not.
In a sense that they're playing it down is that if the Navy can pick up radioactive activity 160 miles or 160 kilometers away, what's the actual radioactivity that's going on the island itself, if it can be detected that far away? It gives me great concern about what's going on the island itself and what's happening to the people there that maybe they're unaware of also, because the Japanese government could be playing it down so that they don't cause alarm.
Planes leave the international airport of Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk according to the schedule, and from what we know there are no additional flights arranged. Also, air companies say that there are no extra demand. But from what we see, for example, now a plane for Moscow is about to leave, is that there are so many passengers with small children around. Let's ask them why they decided to leave now.
Of course, we're always afraid. Living here in Sakhalin, we're always on high alert for quakes. We have our emergency luggage always packed and some extra cash lying around at home just in case.
My son was only 2 years old when the earthquake hit us back in 1995. You have no idea what we went through. Over 2,000 people were killed. I do not wish it on anyone. I would take him away with me right now so that we could be away from what's happening here.
Well, people here indeed are not new to natural disasters such as tsunamis and earthquakes, but with a nuclear threat in place, it seems that they have to be prepared for the unknown, really. And a lot depends on the wind. It is very crucial. So what people should be closely monitoring now is weather forecasts. It will take a radioactive cloud if there is an explosion inside a core of a nuclear reactor less than a day to reach this part of Russia.